The Game Source released the 8th July 2024 the first part about the rules related about the Age of Sigmar 4th edition. So even if you can buy the Fire&Jade, the General Handbook 24-25 and the Corebook, you have the part about the main parts. And so we have to pay attention about such things, and we'll see also the part related the detail about the map of the releasing, and you can also see in this video the part about the facts, because they released that, but in that case it's not bad, because they adjusted some information and they put facts that are really not completely changing, even if some of the changes are related to something that is still to be published, so it's not a problem, because they're related about the various factions. But the main part is about the main rules. It's only clarifying more than really correcting things, so we'll go to see. One thing that you have to notice is that there's been a mistake in the online site, because they released the rules, terrain and glossary, but it's simply the rules, not the part about the terrains, because they're going to be released the part about the terrain separately, so pay attention about this. Anyway, now we go to see about the map. And here, so we can see about the map of the released the 1st July 2024. So as we have seen, the July is the key rules and the battle profiles. The 9th July, it will be the faction order pack. The 10th, the chaos part. The 11th, the death ones. And the 12th, the destruction part. Instead, the Monday, the 15th, the Regiment of Renown, the Legends and Roosters, even if we see that some has been released in the middle, okay? Anyway, it's important. And remember that the official date of the release of the Skaventide box and the things are the 13th of July, so remember this. Anyway, I publish also the video related about the Skaventide, so to have an understanding of the contents of the set box, but I can anticipate you that if you're interested, it's worth to it. But anyway, we'll see in the video related. And here we can see more in detail about the releasing, so the various factions that are going to be released with the various specs, so really quite a lot at the end. And so now we go to see about the facts. About the quick start guide at the end, it's not something special, it's about where to find the rules, references and so on. So it's really a good way to understand better how it works, and really it's really a fast way to have a fast consult about the rules themselves, so it can be really quite useful. And sincerely, I suggest you to think about giving maybe a print about this to have with you, so it's really quite intriguing, simple but nice. And about the Spearhead reference, it's almost the same of the quick start guide, so a really fast way to consult about the Spearhead part, so to have a really fast understanding of what you can have as a processing for the game and so on. So really quite fast consulting, really simple but really quite good. And in the part about the rules are literally all the rules that you can find in the core rulebook. Here, really, if you're interested about, you can find all the core rules that you can find. It's the same that if you buy the Fire&Jade part, so that you can find the rules are the same. But pay attention, because in the Fire&Jade there are also the warscrolls, and it's the same that you can find, for example, in the General Book 24-25. Simply that one has also the season rules. Pay attention about that one. Physical version, even if they should be released in the normal version with the digital one. So really simple but nice, because everything it's really all about it. And pay attention, because you have, other than the basic rules, also the rules for the Spearhead. Remember, not the part about the warscrolls, those not here, but you have anyway the rules, and these rules for the main part, for example, here the part about the rules that we can see are the same that you can find with the other battle, that the other PDF that has been released. So pay attention about this, because you can have, because the Spearhead reference that you can find here, we have seen these just yet, because it's been released together, so you have a separate document with these things. and it's the same, really, so nice. Obviously the glossary and so on, so quite a few things, but nice. And then we had the part about the battle profile and rules update. Here you have to pay attention because you can find that there are the battle profiles for the various factions, and so you can understand that it's really quite important. But moreover, there is the rules update up here that you can find that it's 7 pages, but it's mainly some adjustment because are only 2 pages of the core rules and the advanced rules. The other part are simply something adjusting a bit, correction. And about the faction packs, you have to remember that has not been released yet when it's going to be released such document, because we've seen that in the map are going to be released then later. So technically it should have been better to make that they would have been adjusted directly before to publish the PDF, because you have to know that they have been corrected, so make some confrontation. Okay, technically they're going to sell the data cards for the various factions, so it's understandable that there are such, I can call them facts. Still, a little bit better review about the things, because a lot of them are really simple adjustment of missing things, so okay, you have to pay attention about anyway such. I perfectly understand it's not a good thing, but okay, I can understand are really some little things to remember, so it's not a problem. There are the things that are important and said about the various, here it's how it works, so potential. And here we can find, for example, for each of the armies, the various models, the point, the size, the regiment options, the notes, the base size, that it's important. So for all those ones, so if you're interested instead about the warscrolls, you have to wait for each of the armies one. So as you can see, there are all these parts, so for all the armies, so you can verify without any problem. And you simply have to reach for the page that you are interested about. In this case, I reach for the 40 page because it's the one where they start with the update. And here you have the legend part, okay, and we've seen that they will be released quite later, but okay. And okay, sincerely, here we have what it's most important. So we reach the 40 page and we go to see about the contents. Let's start with the rules update. So with the core rules, here we have some, as you can see, clarifying about the dice. So it's some rules allow you to reroll a dice roll, which means you get to roll some roll of the dice again. You can't reroll the dice, so it's simply clarifying, really. For example, the slim model, you must remove the fewest model possible to make a unit single coherent group. So okay, it's really something simple that specify the order of effect. It's important, for example, that some abilities have a delayed effect. For example, each time a friendly unit uses a fight ability, after that ability has been resolved, he'll D3 that unit if more than one of these effects will be resolved at the same time. The active player resolves the delay the effect of the ability first in order, and then the choosing. And there the opponent does the same. This should be in the main rules, okay, but there are simply things, really. For example, the errata about the combat phase, if in the declared step of the fight phase, change pile-in move to pile-in move. It's simply, really, a simple adjustment of the parts. The weapon abilities change the companion weapon ability to this weapon is not affected by friendly abilities that affect weapon characteristic of the attack sequence, that it was present in other pieces. So it's really quite easy as thing. The contesting objective change the second paragraph. Each unit can only count as contesting a single objective for the purposes of determining objective control. Before determining the objective control for each of the units contesting 2 or more objectives, the active player must pick one of those objectives for its contest. Then the opponent does the same. And for the purposes other than determine objective, a unit can contest more than one objective. And really, are simple things. Okay, technically this should have been without any problem put before in the rules main ones, in the printed one, because if you think about this in particular, it was something that has been corrected also in the old version. Okay, simply, they're really simple things likely, so it's not a problem. Also about the Kurus fuck, so the friendly asked once. Here we can find that when resolving an effect of an ability that refers to a set characteristic of 3+ or better, for example, the glowing quagmire spell and so on. What does better means? And it means any set characteristic with a lower value than 3+, such as 2+, Okay, it's simply really simple things, luckily. So setting up objective and terrain feature. If a battle plan asks you to set up an objective on a corner of the battlefield, should you place the entire 40mm objective marker on the battlefield, or should be the center objective marker on the corner? The center of the objective marker should be on the corner. So really are simple things that clarify really something. So it's not a problem. Moving across the terrain. The rules for moving across the terrain that a model cannot end a move mid-climbing. How can you tell if a move is mid-climbing? So a model is mid-climbing if it is not possible to rest on its base in that location without additional support. As there is a wide variety of terrain features and so on, it's really quite simple one, luckily. Weapon abilities. Can I combine multiple instances of the same ability? Weapon ability, for example, if a weapon already has infantry +1 rand, and it also gain that ability from another source, would it now have a 2+ against the infantry unit? And say no, but it's said in another pieces. Still, okay, it's better that you understand such things, and I would prefer these things yet explained better in the rules. Okay. Guarded Hero. If an ability allows me to ignore effect of the Guarded Hero ability when picking the target, for example, for the Warlock Engineer Sniper Master ability, would the attacking still be affected by a -1 to hit penalty for the Guarded Hero? And they say yes, this is important, should be in the rules as a little example inside. Okay. Advanced ability rules. So if a rules to pick a number of units with one keyword or another, for example, pick a free, skink, infantry, cavalry, and so on. Could you pick a combination of units with either keyword, or do all the units must pick have the same keyword? You can mix and match. If example given, you could pick one skink infantry and two skink cavalry units, because it has different options. So okay. If persisting effect applies to unit that is destroyed and another ability allow you to make that the unit to return on the battlefield. Resurrection prayer for the path to glory, ascension, backpack, for example. Does the persisting effect apply to the return unit? No, because technically it's another unit, because you call support that it's another of the same type. So okay, simply once. Also here for the advanced rule again, that are simply changing really. So the faction terrain for the terrain, some faction terrain feature allow you to place a unit on them. This will clearly specify in the feature of the faction rules. When doing so, instead of measuring range of visibility to and from the unit that is on the terrain feature, measure that on to and from the terrain feature instead. It's the garrison part really. The army composition, the regiment of renown. You cannot add more than one regiment of renown in your army unless otherwise specified in the notes column of the regiment battle profile. Unit in the regiment renown cannot use, but they can pick it as the target of, any faction rules from the faction. Here, for example, this part should be technically in the main rules, or at least in the rules about the regiment of renown, because remember that they should be released the part about the really single PDF about. So some things really are something quite simple ones. Other are something that it's okay, you missed them, even if you should not, technically, because they cost quite a lot, the volumes. But because if you think about, you are not forced, because in this case, really, the rules are for free, because the basic rules are anyway for free. I can understand and make me this pass on. For example, also the errata about the universal terrain feature that in the cover ability change charged or shall be charged this turn. So it's really simple things that has been to adjust it, that it should been had a proof reader about. Okay, but there are really quite few things. So really simple things to see. Also here the Franco question about the advanced rules. So the command shooting phase. If a friendly unit is in combat and disarmed with a weapon that has shooting combat, can it use covering fire command? No, you can only pick units that are not in combat to use that ability. It's simple one, but I can understand. If a unit cannot be picked to be the target of a shooting attack, for example, an infantry hero affected by the guarded hero ability, but is closest unit to a friendly unit using the covering fire command. Do I still have to target that unit? No, you must pick the nearest eligible unit to that can be picked to be the target of the shooting attacks. This technically it's a fact that it could even not exist. It's simply a clarifying about. So really quite a lot of few things to be related. So for example, if an ability requires you to set up a unit more than 9 inch from all enemy unit, could you set up a unit within 9 inch of a faction tile feature? Yes, however, some faction tile features, such as the Sharing Luminor, allow a unit to be placed on them, since in that cases you measure range and visibility to and from the terrain feature instead of the unit. You would not be able to set up a unit within 9 inch of a faction terrain feature that has a unit on it, because we've seen that it's technically a guardian unit inside, so it counts as being in that. So you make the measurement from that the faction features. So it's really quite a few things about. Are faction terrain features affected by a friendly ability that gives unit the word keyword? No, so it's simple. One, can faction features there are a lot about the faction features here, the terrain features. Okay, use command ability? No, because unless the command on the terrain feature, it's a features war scroll. They're really quite simple ones. Also here about the, for example, do I need to retreat ability to move away from a terrain feature that has a move characteristic of 0? No, you can use any move ability. However, some faction terrain features, for example, the Shine Luminor, always hit, allow a unit to be placed on them, since, okay, in that case, you have to retreat. So it's really something that you have to adjust. There are really quite a lot of things that are few ones. Okay, sincerely, some of these things could be really put better with simple lines on the paper. Really, adjustment really about the position, about the rules, and they're really quite simple to understand. But anyway, okay. Magic and unit in my army use the example spell Mystic Shield and example player Resurrection from the set bar. These examples are from the Path to Glory Ascension Battle Pack, so they can be used by players using the Battle Pack if they gain the appropriate path rank. So, okay, it's obvious because it's explained what you can use based on, okay, it's simply clarifying about this. So, power level. If a unit has multiple power level, for example, a hero that is both a wizard and a priest, and another ability modify that unit power level, for example, with the Witchbane, Curse player, which power level does it modify? Both. This is useful because it clarifies what it is. So really, a lot of little things that are intriguing. So, for example, a manifestation affected by friendly abilities, for example, those that gives the word keyword. No, but we've seen before that are similar examples because they are technically not unit and it's written that they don't gain. But anyway, it's simple something that it make you adjustment. So they're really simple ones for the most part. So okay, one important instead, in my opinion, it's the part about the completing the battle tactics. So if a battle tactics require a unit not to be in combat at the end of your turn, says the challenger, can I still complete that tactic in my unit if my unit is within 3 inches of a manifestation or faction terrain feature? Manifestation that has move characteristic of 0 and faction terrain feature that only count as being in combat in the combat phase. So if you were within 3 inches of any of those, you can make simply the points because you have to pay attention. But anyway, if however you were within 3 inches of a manifestation that has move characteristic of greater than 0, or a faction feature that has a unit on it, we've seen before the example, then you are considered that you are in combat. It's important one as thing, and can be understand that you have to specify even if it's written every time that it's work like this. So they're really quite simple. About the glossary, simply are little things about, and also about this errata that we can see, it's little change about. So it's simply clarifying about the terms. Really, it's not something really quite important. And about the Spearhead Fire&Jade, okay, there are something that you have to notice, but you have to also notice that are really quite simple ones. So it's not a problem, and there are really few ones for all a volume about. And about the faction packs, here you have to remember that here there are the packs, but when it's released these, they are not yet the faction packs themselves. So simply you adjust what you need to remember, that anyway, even if there are such things that are anyway few, really, even if there are quite a lot about the undead, okay. But anyway, here it's important to notice that these are something that are provisory, because soon it's going to be started releasing about the Battletome, so the new rules more combined and so on. So it's simple but nice. So little by little there is quite an improvement. In a way, there are a little few things that I want to add that I found really quite intriguing. And there is, for example, about the rule update, that we see that the new ones will have the violet color, the updated one, this light yellow one, and there will be also about the deleted. So it will be not anymore going crazy about thinking when it's released the updated, what has been changed and so on. And so it will be much easier to understand. Okay, it will be anyway, I think, to bring up the new rules to analyze what has been changed, but it will be much easier to understand, for example, the deleted part or so on, and so it will be really quite better, really quite intriguing. Another thing to notice, it's about the battle profiles that you can find two different colors, because one is the part, the light brown, we can call it light red, and the other part, it's the related part about the blue, that it's related about the things that has been changed, that could be cause the base size, the keywords, mainly about the keywords part, the points and so on. So it's really quite intriguing, and really you can understand much better what has been changed and so on, and know also the units that are available, and we see the warscroll in the faction parts. And I suggest you also to go to see about the battle profiles for the Warhammer Legends, because you can find also something intriguing. For example, units that are going to be dismissed. We can see about the Fleischer Kurz for the Cryptgast Courtier. It's not something surprising, because we can remember that in the previous edition with the Battletome, it has the quite similar rules to another model, so I can understand why it is going to be dismissed. But we can find that the other units that are going to be dismissed are related about the Warcry and Underworld units. So you have to remember about this. Remember, this doesn't mean that you can't use the models, because they can be replacing for some units that you can change in the way that you can personalize better, make more characterization to your army using them, so not a problem. Still, it's also something that make you think about maybe buying them, because they're going to be dismissed and not anymore produced, or they can be recycled for other things. So it's really quite useful as idea this, so pay attention about such, because you can find quite a lot. Anyway, remember that still these are usable, simple legends, so technically should not be available in official tournaments, but can be used eventually. Anyway, it's something to pay attention. So what to say about such releasing? I think that it's quite worth, because the rules are for free, the basic ones, the Battletome we see really about. The part about the Fire&Jade, you can find them, so you don't have even need the book. But remember that with the book you have also the warscrolls, and it's important. And if you think about the things, it's really quite awesome. Even the facts are 7 pages, but the main part are simply something, a little adjustment of the things, so are few things to remember, because the mass part is really about how to behave against the sharing features that are eventually garrisoned, and the part about manifestation with 0 inch of movement. So quite simple, but nice. Sincerely, I quite appreciate. Still, I think that a bit more precision and foolproof about the writing in the rules would have been better, but it's quite a good improvement. Remember that the rules will also be available on the app for free, and eventually you can download the PDF, so it's not a problem. Quite nice. So, from that mode, it's everything. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell so to receive notification about new video, to comment under here about this video, or if you want to suggest me new videos. So, I hope to see you again to the next time.